And there are 4 options that I recommend that are ecologically favorable to swapping out your lawn from something terrible and stupid to something beautiful and amazing. And those options, I'm going to go through all 4 of them. You've got solarizing, sod cutting, what are they? Solarizing, sod cutting, sheet mulching, and also overseeding. So there's a lot of S's. Seeding, solarizing, sod cutting, sheet mulching. Yeah, all of those things. So the simplest of those that you were mentioning is to just throw down some seeds, right? There are a couple of caveats because Kentucky bluegrass, which is what we have the most here, but whatever lawn blend you have, it's thriving already. So we want to be able to give the new seeds a chance to eventually overtake the Kentucky bluegrass. So in that case, what I would recommend is mowing the Kentucky bluegrass down very, very short, about as short as you can get it. You might need to do like a longer one and then a second pass at a lower setting, and then keep it short for several weeks, because actually the root health of Kentucky bluegrass is directly correlated to blade length. So if you have Kentucky bluegrass that you're letting get long, that is stronger and more resilient than if you're cutting it down super short. So mow it repeatedly, like, 2 or 3 times a week for 2 weeks to keep it really, really short, and that's going to weaken it significantly. Then what you can do is aerate the lawn, because that's going to punch those cores into the lawn and allow those seeds that you overseed it with to penetrate down and get into the soil and have that soil contact. And then the third thing you can do is get a hard rake, and you've been keeping that lawn really short, so you can give a really tough rake to the ground cover or to the grass, and that's going to again allow for more seed contact. Now the thing that you need to know is once you overseed it, you're going to need to water frequently in order to allow that seed to germinate, and it's going to be like 5 to 10 minutes a day every day, because you don't want to water too deeply because that'll suffocate the seeds. And then you have this sort of awkward balance where you're trying to get these new seeds to germinate, but now the Kentucky bluegrass is like thriving because you're watering it so much. So there's going to be this awkward stage where you still have to mow quite a lot. You still have to kind of deal with the fact that this Kentucky bluegrass is doing its thing. What will eventually happen is the eco blend that you overseed with will start to establish, and then you can dramatically reduce the amount that you're watering. And then once you reduce it to be in line with what this drought-tolerant variety wants, the Kentucky bluegrass is going to start getting really weak. But I would recommend overseeding every spring and every fall, probably for 2 or 3 seasons before you're going to have a completely new lawn. So it's not an instant fix. There are definitely more invasive things, like things that require more upfront work that would get you this lower maintenance lawn faster. So we covered of the 4 ways that you can swap out a a water thirsty and inefficient lawn like Kentucky bluegrass with something that is low maintenance and low water, which is what we want. Or switch it out completely for something different, like native plant landscape or a garden, whatever. If you want to get rid of your grass, there are 4 ways you can do it without spraying harmful chemicals that are going to leach into the water supply, because we don't like doing that. This is an anti-Roundup account, okay? I don't care if they're gonna come for me. I'm not here to support Monsanto. I'm just not. So we're not spraying Roundup. So what we have to do instead are one of these 4 ways. We just covered overseeding, and then the other 3 S's are solarizing, sod cutting, and sheet mulching. Which one should we talk about firstly?
Solarizing.
We should talk about solarizing. Okay, so this is basically heating up the grass so much to effectively unalive it so that you can then rake it up really good and overseed a new variety. So that involves some plastic. I, of course, don't love just buying a big roll of plastic that's going to end up in the landfill. It's not my favorite option. However, I have just used old shower curtains before. So when your shower curtain is getting mildewy and you don't like it anymore and you're going to replace it, put it to the side and then use it when you're ready to start your solarization product. And then we're reducing, reusing, recycling, all of those things. So you're going to lay that down over your grass. Again, you want to get your grass pretty short so that there's none of this like air pockets. If you have really tall grass, then you're going to have that. So get your lawn really short, lay the plastic down on top, and then either use landscaping staples to secure it, or you can like put some bricks or rocks or something to secure it. And then you're going to leave it there for like 6 solid weeks, or maybe even up to 8 weeks. So the downside of this is that you just have to have grass or plastic out on your yard for a long period of time. It's also important that you wait for temperatures to get quite high. So this isn't something I would recommend doing right now if you're in the northern hemisphere like I am. I would say June would be a great time to start, and then you could have that be down all summer long, which would be a perfect time to then seed your new lawn in October or September, maybe even late August, depending on what your climate is, and giving that the time to establish before the frosts come, and then you're gonna have this amazing lawn fill in the spring. So solarizing is great if you're cool with taking all summer and you're ready to be patient. It's minimal work in terms, like you put down the plastic, then you don't have to do much after that, and then you just rake it up and put your seeds down. So it's probably the lowest effort of all of them, but you just have to deal with the fact that plastic's on your lawn for an entire summer. And it's not my favorite option for that reason.
So what is your favorite option?
That is a great question. I think overseeding, it really depends. So if you already have a lawn that's doing okay and you want to keep using it, overseeding is one of my favorite options because it's a slow transition. Eventually it becomes what we want it to be. The only issue is you do have to continue the level of maintenance that your current lawn requires for probably an entire season before next season it's going to be good enough. I would say sheet mulching is one of my favorite options, but I would not recommend it if you were just going to seed a new lawn on top of it. I would recommend it if you were going to put down a garden, raised garden beds, or you were going to plant a native landscape and plant perennials into the ground. And for sheet mulching, it is exactly what it sounds like. You're going to take cardboard or contractor paper. Cardboard is obviously free, but you have to have somewhere to store all this cardboard as you're saving your boxes, or you have to go sweet talk a Best Buy employee to give you all of their cardboard or something like that. Contractor paper, not free, but fairly inexpensive, and you can get a roll of it at Lowe's or Home Depot, and then you just like put a brick on it or stick a landscaping staple on one end, and you just walk it back and just roll it out, which is what I've done in the past. I've done cardboard too. It just really depends if you have the patience to save all the boxes or not. And then you just put compost and wood chips on top, and you could immediately, if you wanted, plant perennials directly into that and then let that fill into be a native landscape. You could also do that in the fall and kind of let that just sit, and like the wood chips are going to start breaking down and all this microbial activity is going to start working as that saprophytic fungi starts working. So you could do that and then plant in the spring. I've also seen folks plant directly into the lawn and then do the sheet mulching around the plants, which I think is fun because then you don't have to worry about like breaking the paper or cutting through the cardboard. You just place it down around the plants. And then sod cutting, I think, is fairly self-explanatory. It's definitely the fastest solution in terms of you can sod cut and then you could seed your new lawn the next day.
Wow.
But you have to rent a sod cutter or hire a crew to do it. You have to call in blue stakes to make sure that you're not going to damage any utility lines. You need to be careful that you're not going to damage any underground sprinkler system. So I think it just, requires a little more research and a little more confidence than the other ones. Those are all of the ways that you can effectively get rid of a Kentucky bluegrass lawn and then eventually replace it with something way better.